Okay, imagine this. You've just completely aced the interview for that dream job. You feel amazing, right? Practically waiting by the phone.
Yeah, you're already planning your first day.
Exactly. But then, nothing. Silence. And you find out later it's because of some old photo, maybe from college, doing something silly on spring break.
Sounds like a bad dream, but well, it's reality for a lot of people.
It really is. Turns out over half of employers checking social media have dropped candidates for stuff just like that. Welcome to the deep dive.
Where we try to make sense of complex stuff and give you the key insights.
That's right. Today, we're diving deep into the ethical and social issues around information systems and, well, the internet, basically. We've got our expert here to guide us.
Happy to be here. We're drawing heavily from Chapter 4 of Laudon Laudon's Management Information Systems, the 17th edition. A great resource for this.
Perfect. So if you're maybe a grad student in IS prepping for a meeting or just really curious about how tech is changing things, this is for you.
Our goal is to give you a shortcut to understanding, maybe spark some aha moments without, making your head spin.
And hey, if you find this useful, please do us a solid, like the episode, subscribe, maybe share it with a colleague or friend, and definitely drop a comment. We want to hear your thoughts. Okay, let's get into it.
That job scenario you mentioned, it's disturbingly common.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty wild. Something like 70% of companies are screening social media now. That's up from, 12% back in 2006? A huge leap.
Massive. And it's not just potential hires. Almost half of companies monitor their current employees' social media, too.
Looking for what? Provocative stuff, drinking, discriminatory comments, basically grounds for not hiring or maybe even firing?
And what's really striking is just how much personal data is collected beyond social media. It's everywhere.
Like how? Give us an example.
Well, think about a simple gardening website. It might figure out what grows best where you live, or, Amazon greeting you by name, suggesting things.
Things you didn't even know you wanted.
Exactly. It feels helpful, but the sheer scale of data being collected and analyzed about you is just immense.
The book paints this really vivid picture. Imagine someone knowing you're 22, drive a Mazda, like hip-hop, shop at Macy's once a month.
Around the 15th, yeah.
Wear a size 10, live in a small apartment, have family in Texas, like Red Lobster, go skiing in Colorado.
Even past medical issues, time spent on Facebook. It's incredibly detailed.
And the scary part, all of that, and probably more, can be stitched together just from different computer records. These huge databases make profiling super easy.
Easier and faster than ever before. And this really gets to the heart of the challenge. Society is still catching up, ethically speaking.
The laws just can't keep pace with the tech, right?
Exactly. We're often operating in this kind of legal and ethical gray zone, which is why understanding these issues is so vital, especially if you're going into IT service management or any IS field.
So to help us sort of frame this, the source talks about 5 key moral dimensions. What are those?
Right, they are.
Yeah.
Information rights and obligations, property rights and obligations, accountability and control, system quality, and the overall quality of life.
Concepts that have always mattered, I guess, but tech just amplifies them.
Precisely. They're central to the digital world now.
Yeah.
And we see these playing out constantly. Think about privacy issues.
Like the ones EPIC, the Electronic Privacy Information Center, highlights.
Yeah, exactly. They point out cases like Facebook giving companies like Amazon and Sony broad access to user data, even private messages.
Even after they'd been told not to by the FTC.
Yes, despite a consent order. Or look at Uber. They had a big settlement over lax security that exposed tons of customer data.
Wow, so these aren't just little mistakes, it's more systemic.
It points to a real tension between innovation, profit, and, accountability. And it's not just simple data collection driving this. It's sophisticated data mining.
Okay, explain data mining a bit.
It's basically using powerful software to sift through huge amounts of data to find hidden patterns, predict behavior, that sort of thing.
And what about NORAR? That sounds interesting.
Nora-Navius relationship awareness. It's even more advanced. The book uses a casino example. They use Nora to spot potential cheaters by mapping connections between people checking criminal records.
Connecting dots that aren't obvious.
Exactly. Pulling together disparate data to build a profile, often without you even knowing.
Which kind of leads us to the whole government surveillance thing, doesn't it? Like the Snowden revelations back in 2013.
Right, the PRISM program.
Yeah.
Accessing communications from Google, Facebook, Microsoft. all the big players.
Though the CEOs, like Larry Page at Google, denied giving direct access, they said they only responded to lawful orders.
Yeah, it highlighted this really complex legal and ethical gray area around government access and what access even means.
But regardless of where you stand on Snowden, the takeaway is,
The takeaway for you is clear. Your data is being gathered constantly, online and off. These tech trends create situations we've never faced before. And as future IT pros, you really need to be engaged in figuring out the solutions. It's your world, your career.
that really brings up that fundamental question, doesn't it? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That's the core ethical dilemma. It's one thing in a small group where everyone knows each other, but online, in huge, anonymous groups, it's much harder to manage.
So how do we navigate that? What are the key concepts?
Well, we need to understand things like responsibility, accepting the costs and duties for your actions. Then accountability, figuring out who should be responsible.
And liability, that sounds more legal.
It is. Liability is the legal placement of responsibility. And due process ensures laws are applied fairly. But these aren't just abstract ideas. They apply directly to your actions online, whether you're coding, managing, or just using systems.
So you can't just hide behind anonymity.
Absolutely not. If you send threatening emails, for example, Gmail or your ISP can track it back and shut you down. Anonymity isn't a shield for bad behavior.
And for IT managers, there's another layer, right? Like if you know about a problem.
Yes. If you're aware of a security flaw or unethical data use and you do nothing, you could be seen as part of the problem. Because ultimately, people control the computers, not the other way around.
Okay, so when you do face an ethical dilemma at work, how should you approach it? Is there a process?
There's a helpful 5-step process the book suggests. First, get the facts straight, separate fact from fiction. Second, remember there are usually two sides.
Okay.
Third, identify who's really involved, who's affected. Fourth, look for a compromise. It's not always black and white. And fifth, try to anticipate the consequences of different actions. That helps find better solutions.
Makes sense. And are there some core ethical principles that still apply, even online?
Definitely. The source lists 6 timeless principles, the golden rule, do unto others. Kant's principle, if it's not right for everyone, it's not right for anyone.
Okay, keep going.
The slippery slope rule, if it can't be done repeatedly, don't do it at all. The utilitarian principle, aim for the higher value. The risk aversion principle, choose the action with the least harm.
And the last one.
Assume ownership, basically. Assume everything tangible and intangible belongs to someone, unless stated otherwise. These are like your ethical guideposts.
And these come up in real workplace situations all the time, I bet.
Oh, constantly. Should companies read employee email? Can you use work computers for a side hustle? What about sending iffy jokes, monitoring keystrokes?
Where do you draw the line if someone's just browsing gardening sites all day? Or playing games that slow down the network?
These are tough calls managers make every day. There aren't always easy answers, but those principles help.
So the big takeaway here, especially for our listeners heading into IT careers,
Is that you are responsible, accountable, and liable for your actions online, period. Feeling anonymous doesn't change that, and ignoring problems makes you part of them.
let's shift gears slightly and talk more about privacy and property rights. This is huge.
It really is. We tend to assume some privacy online, but it's often an illusion. Think about it. Your video rentals have strong legal protection, but your online financial records, much less so.
The book uses an analogy like a video camera in your dorm room tracking you. That's kind of what web tracking is like.
It's a good analogy, yeah. And while there's the U.S. Privacy Act from 1974, it mostly just applies to the federal government, commercial companies, retailers, websites.
They can pretty much collect and sell your browsing habits.
There's very little stopping them, legally speaking, in the U.S., which raises that core ethical question.
Is it right for data collected for one thing, like medical bills, to be used for something totally different, like denying insurance without you knowing?
Exactly. That's a central conflict we haven't resolved.
And the way they track us is getting sneakier, isn't it? The Julia Preston example was chilling researching a health issue and then seeing constant fertility ads.
That's targeted advertising in action. Your online activity, what you click, what you search, it can be bundled and sold on data exchanges almost instantly for tiny fractions of a cent.
Happening in milliseconds behind the scenes. And this tracking is just exploding, right?
Massively. Way more sites use sophisticated tracking now than even 5 or 10 years ago. And these tracking files can scoop up really sensitive stuff, health, finances.
So what's being done? The FTC has some guidelines.
They have a framework, things like privacy by design, transparency, consumer choice. But there's this big fight over opt-in versus opt-out.
Explain that.
Privacy advocates want opt-in. Companies need your explicit permission before collecting data. Advertisers prefer opt-out. They collect data by default, and you have to take action to stop it.
Which is much harder for the average person.
Much harder. And this is where Europe's GDPR is so different.
Right, the General Data Protection Regulation. How does that work?
It requires clear, unambiguous consent. You have to actively agree, and it limits how companies can use your data. Big companies worldwide had to change their practices to comply.
Which makes you ask if it works for Europe.
Why not here? It's a very valid question.
What are the main tech tools used for tracking? Cookies, obviously.
Cookies are the classic ones, tracking preferences and activity. But then you have web beacons or web bugs, tiny invisible graphics on pages or emails that monitor you, even mouse movements.
Whoa.
Yeah. And things like flash cookies that can reinstall themselves if you delete regular cookies. And then there's actual spyware software that gets on your machine and reports back on everything you do, potentially leading to identity theft.
So understanding these tools is crucial for anyone managing IT systems.
Absolutely. You need to know how to protect users and systems from these things.
But it seems like there's this paradox. People say they want privacy, but maybe don't act on it.
That's the privacy paradox. Few companies really prioritize protecting user privacy unless forced to, because, frankly, data is valuable. And relatively few users dig into privacy policies. Less than half, apparently.
So the question for you listening is, which group are you in? Do you read the policies? Do you take steps?
It's something to really think about.
Okay, let's talk about property rights, specifically intellectual property online.
Right. Intellectual property, or IP, is basically brain power. The value created from ideas, inventions, creative work. Think software, music, writing.
And the problem is online, it's so easy to copy and distribute, right? Like that novel example, someone posts it for free, and the author's work is instantly devalued.
Exactly. And the key legal point is pretty much everything online is protected by copyright, unless it explicitly says it isn't. You don't even need the little E symbol anymore.
And there are laws against violating copyright online.
Oh, yeah. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, from 1998, made it a federal crime. Big fines involved. It's not just about can you copy it, but is it legal and ethical?
And we've seen this play out with software piracy.
Definitely. Groups like the Business Software Alliance fight that constantly. There have been major busts.
And the music industry versus Napster back in the day,
Yeah.
that was huge.
Huge. Millions in damages. Napster had to go legit. Now, both music and movie industries actively sue individuals for illegal downloading.
So the bottom line is,
If it seems too good to be true, like getting expensive software or movies for free, it probably is. And if it's illegal or unethical offline, it's illegal and unethical online, too. That's a critical point for IT professionals to uphold.
let's move to the impact on our daily lives. Accountability, system quality, general well-being. How does accountability change online?
Well, a lot of our laws about liability are old, written before the internet. They don't always fit neatly. Like, should your ISP be liable if one of their users posts something illegal?
Like the phone company being liable for obscene calls? It's tricky.
Very tricky. And when systems fail, the consequences can be massive. Who pays for the harm? Think about data breaches like the Target one in 2013.
Huge amounts of data stolen, massive loss of customer trust.
Exactly. Or even worse, system failures causing physical harm. The book mentions the Boeing 737 MAX crashes. Software design, system flaws, management issues all played a role. It raises big questions about automation and human oversight in IT.
And system quality itself is a constant challenge, isn't it? As we rely more on tech.
The problems from poor quality become more significant. That Facebook outage in 2019, their longest ever, blamed on a server configuration change. It shows how easily things can break.
Or credit report errors stopping you from getting a loan. Or bad software making systems vulnerable to viruses.
And the main culprits are usually software bugs, hardware failures, or, very often, bad input data. Garbage in, garbage out, right? IS professionals are constantly battling these.
Beyond the tech, what about the quality of life stuff, social impacts?
There are real concerns. Less face-to-face interaction, how kids develop social skills, the whole phenomenon of online relationships. There are even laws like COPIA, trying to protect kids online.
And the work-life balance issue, especially with remote work.
Big challenge. Technology makes it easy to be on 24/7. Telecommuters might feel they have to work all hours. It needs careful management, though there are upsides to flexibility, less commuting.
What about things like computer crime or spam?
Well, computer crime is real, but remember, actions online are traceable. People do get caught. Spam is still a nuisance. Laws against it have had limited success, honestly. It's a constant battle between ISPs and spammers.
And jobs. Technology definitely changes the job market.
Absolutely. It creates new jobs, but also eliminates others or requires totally new skills. Continuous learning is just essential now in IT service management. You have to keep updating your skills.
Okay, last big area. Health and well-being. This is important for managers too.
Hugely important. Things like repetitive stress injury, RSI, carpal tunnel, computer vision syndrome. These are real physical costs to businesses and individuals from poor ergonomics.
Ergonomics, that's designing workspaces for people, right?
Exactly. Studying the human-machine relationship. Using better keyboards, monitors, desk setups can make a huge difference. We also see technostress.
Technostress, like
Wow.
road rage online.
Kind of, yeah. Stress from constant tech use, information overload. The advice is simple but hard. Take breaks, step away, don't get isolated. Even simple things like propping up your laptop help.
So creating healthy IT work environments is key.
Critical. Because at the end of the day, managing your relationship with technology, limiting the downsides, maximizing the positives, that's up to you.
But you have to be aware that others might try to exploit gaps in accountability or control.
You absolutely do. Vigilance is key.
Wow. Okay. We've covered a lot ground here, really digging into how information systems affect ethics, privacy, property, our whole lives.
And understanding this stuff isn't just, academic. If you're heading into IT service management or any related field, this is crucial knowledge. You're part of shaping how we use this technology ethically.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about. Technology keeps advancing, pushing boundaries. How will you, with your understanding, advocate for ethical practices,
Yeah, for privacy.
both in your job and just as a citizen in this digital world? What steps will you take to make sure tech serves us well?
Really important questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep asking questions.
And keep shaping the future of information systems responsibly. Absolutely. And one last time, if you got value here, please like, subscribe, share, and definitely leave a comment. We'd love to hear your perspective on these issues. Thanks for listening.